Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be looking into the Battle Beaver versus the Scuf and which one that I prefer and liked better. So if you don't know me, I'm a first-person shooter game player and I've always used a Scuf controller for years on years. And I'm going to kind of bring you guys back a little bit. So I got my first Scuf controller back in Black Ops 3 on Xbox, and then we went over to PlayStation 4, and then I got my first Scuf controller, which I will show you guys. So this was the very first one that I had, and as you'll notice, one of the big things was broken paddle, and I actually flipped a paddle around backwards to keep playing with the Scuf. That's pretty bad, but I was trying to make do. And anyway, so obviously the Scuffs came a long way since then. They don't have quite the paddle problems they had back then, but that was one of the first ones for PlayStation. Probably my most used Scuff that I used on PlayStation was definitely the Impact controller. And then recently I just purchased the Vantage 2 and tried it out. And I will say there's a lot of hate going on about the Vantage 2, and I feel like I need to do a complete review on the Vantage 2 and kind of the pros and cons. But I mean, overall, the Vantage 2 is not the worst controller on the market, I don't think. But if you're going to go with a Scuf, you either need to go with probably the Impact or just the original, I think it's the Infinity 4PS. But if you're not familiar with the Scuf, they have the paddles in the back, and you can see these buttons right there are what actually, there's a little item in here that just really kind of clicks into that button, and that's what you use to jump or either slide or knife, whatever you have your paddle set up as. And this is actually a 4 paddle. I just took 2 paddles off. This one was a pretty basic controller. I didn't do any trigger stops or anything, and didn't really do anything fancy with the sticks. I actually ended up putting the regular just PlayStation 4 sticks on there. Now the Vantage, you can see, actually has the trigger stops, and you can actually increase the tension on these. So it really, like a shooting is kind of like that. You don't even have to really push it that much. Now it is a little finicky, and I found it, the actual adjusting the trigger hairs was not the best. I left them almost alone just to where I just used the actual, like, where the plastic stops on the trigger stops. Because really that's all you really need in first-person shooters to kind of shoot. And then the latest purchase that I've made is the Battle Beaver. And this Battle Beaver, I'm going to give you guys a little close-up on the buttons. So if you look here, the button, it's the same thing as what the paddle does. That's your jump, slide, knife, reload, whatever you set it as. And I got the basic Battle Beaver because I didn't really need all this extra stuff. And I didn't need all these fancy colors. I didn't need all these weird designs or anything. So I just wanted something basic to try the controller out and see if I even liked it. And so playing with the Impact and playing with the Vantage 2 for the past few months, it was difficult to adjust at first to just the old school, PlayStation controller. One thing I did do was I got the rumbles out. I always take the rumbles out on all of my controllers. That's just something I've done over the years. I don't play with vibration or anything, so it's kind of there's nothing to lose there, and it just lightens the controller up a little bit. And I will say this one is very light. So, guys, I'm just gonna have to lay it out there. The Scuf, having the Scuf in your hands. I play L1R1 to shoot, but having the Scuf in your hands, it looks like it fits comfortably in your hands, but your hands are pretty spread out on this controller. I mean, the paddles aren't necessarily, they're easy to hit, don't get me wrong. But if you had to hit them very fast, it's hard to kind of it'll wear your hands out over time. One thing I noticed playing with the Battle Beaver was the buttons are very easy to hit. You can just listen to that. I'm just gonna put it up to the mic so y'all can hear it. It's very easy to hit. Very easy to hit. And probably one of my favorite features with Battle Beaver was these triggers that I got. They call them smart triggers, I believe. That is just crazy. That's it. That's the ball game. It's like a mouse click. That's full shot. It's literally a mouse click. That's probably one of my favorite options. I didn't get any of the tensions or anything on the joysticks. You can actually increase the tensions on them. I just preferred the standard to try it out. These are actually in the standard positions. And like I said, it's pretty basic stock controller. I mean, there's nothing really fancy about it. But guys, I'm just going to give you my honest opinion here. So overall, I've played Scuf for years. And this whole wave with the Battle Beaver has been going on, so I had to give it a try. And guys, I'm not gonna lie that my movement and just being able to hit the jump and being able, I actually slide with my back paddle or back button is much easier with the Battle Beaver. Now this is first out of the box, first try, so I didn't really get, I don't have that half in 6 months. I haven't been playing it for a year, so I don't know how the buttons are gonna hold up, how the triggers are gonna hold up. I'm gonna have problems with the controller because I've been playing with this Scuf for like 2 years. I've never had any issues. And the Vantage 2, there's a few issues I had with it, but it was mainly connection based. It wasn't, the controller itself was okay, but I mean, these buttons, the top buttons, are what killed me the most. The L1, R1 is what probably hurt me the most with the Vantage 2. It's just not made to shoot. You gotta use the L2, R2, I feel like, to really be good. And then just I don't know, just the controller just felt weird, but I mean, this is your basic stock Sony controller. And these buttons, I mean, you can place them. They have a multitude of placements that you can place all throughout here. I mean, they fit right in your hands. And these triggers are just smooth. And I'm just gonna lay it out there. I mean, Scuf, Battle Beaver, and this is just me trying the controller out for, first time. Haven't had a good 6 month review yet, year review yet. But this is my favorite controller I've ever used in gaming, period. I don't think I'll ever swap back to Scuf after trying this. And the prices on this, so this one I actually got, I think it's called the Pro Build. You can get like a pre-built, basically a Pro Build controller, and that's what I got, and it was $160, I believe. And so it basically comes with the triggers. It comes with the two buttons on the back, and you can choose if you want the rumbles out or not. And that's what I ended up going with. And I'll make sure to link it in the description below, so you guys can check it out. But I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. This is probably one of my favorite controllers that I've ever used, just because it's ergonomically. I mean, the PlayStation controller is already very comfortable in the hands. I feel like it's very small. I mean, I have kind of big hands, but it's very light controller. It just kind of fits naturally in your hands. I like the joysticks being side by side. That was one reason why I did go with the Impact when I went with Scuf, because they were side by side. And like I said, being able to hit that button that quick and hit that button that quick, and the triggers are probably my favorite thing about this controller. Favorite thing. But the buttons are a lot easier than, I read reviews, and people were saying the buttons were kind of hard to hit. They make your fingers hurt, whatever. If you've been using a Scuf for the past year, 2 years, half a year, these buttons are a breeze compared to these paddles to hit. I can tell you that. These buttons are easy. And the triggers, I'm telling you guys, this is next level right here. And I got Mr. Basic over here. This is next level. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm gonna link the controller I got below. And if you get a chance, before you buy your next Scuf, I would check out Battle Beaver. They're doing something right over there. But I will say the one thing bad about Battle Beaver is they have a 2 month build time. But if you get one of these pre-builts like I got, they shipped it out to me in 3 days, and it shipped in 2 days. I paid, I think it was 160, 170 bucks at the end of the day, but that's about the same price as Scuf that you're gonna get in 2 weeks. So I've heard that they're increasing some of their times or decreasing some of their times with Battle Beaver. So we'll see over the next couple months if they're getting people quicker controllers. But I tell you what, guys, if you're a fan of Call of Duty and you've been watching the competitive Call of Duty, there's a reason why 80% of the Call of Duty League players are using the Battle Beaver, and I understand why now. Give them a try, guys. They're pretty good. Well, hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, like the video if you like the review. If you have any questions, make sure to put it in the comments below, and I'll help you guys out with any questions. But anyway, thanks, guys, for tuning in. Y'all have a good one.